Hi, everyone.
This is our second time recording.
Yeah, we did a first recording, but we kind of played some background music, except it was very distorted and you can only really hear the sound, so it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I was playing it on my laptop, and I had my phone on my laptop, so it was like
vibrating, and the sound was like as we were talking, so not quite like that, but you know what I mean. So anyways, hello, welcome to our 25th episode, which we're halfway to 50, just FYI, podcast of... Wait.
The Maughter Podcast.
I am Claudia, I am Mother, this is Polly, she's my daughter. We're just gonna breathe and go. Okay, go. Just kidding. Today we're gonna be talking about missing people, cold cases,
disappearances, solved and unsolved.
Yes.
Just because I don't like unsolved.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Don't like knowing that it's out there, but no one knows what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
like when
poopy.
When I listen to true crime, so my favorite true crime, like a podcast overall is this one by Parcast.
Okay.
And they do like serial killers and cults, and like they have different podcast branches.
Yeah.
And there's an unsolved one. I've never listened to a single one.
Or just keep sending you links to it just so you can try it out. That's too funny.
Yeah, but check out Parcast because they have really good true crime. Shout out.
Oh yeah, before we forget, shout out to
Parcast.
And
Ian
and Carla. We kind of forgot about you guys last weekend, and
no, I put you in the
description. Yes, sorry guys. So shout out. Okay, so
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, Polly's forgetful, so I'm gonna blame her.
Just kidding.
Excuse me. We're gonna start with
Elisa Lam.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
I know. I'm going over this case because Claudia doesn't know who she is. A lot of people are familiar with it because it was so strange.
Okay.
Okay. So Elisa Lam was a tourist.
Okay.
From Canada in the United States. She was in California, staying at the Cecil Hotel, and it's known for being haunted and, spooky. Weird things have happened. Lots of deaths because it's basically on Skid Row.
So is it like unexplained deaths or just...
No, just people overdosing, and because it's
like a
rundown.
Hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was like prime. There was a lot of celebrities who stayed there, and lots of known celebrities. So, of course, people see like, oh, Frank Sinatra stayed here. I think I heard him last night before I went to bed.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or I seen his ghost or stuff like that. So Elisa Lam was staying at the Cecil Hotel while she was touring California.
Okay.
Okay, so Lam was born April 30th, 1991, and her family immigrated to Canada where they opened a restaurant in Burnaby, British Columbia.
Okay.
Lam was a student at University Hill Secondary and the University of BC. On January 26, 2013, she checked into the hotel, also known as Stay on Main at the time.
Okay.
Which is located in downtown Los Angeles near Skid Row. Early in her stay, she was relocated from a shared room to a private one due to odd behavior. Okay, this was a student. She was on depression meds.
Okay.
But she always took her meds. Her parents, I've heard things that she had like another mental disorder that was not treated.
Okay. So that when they say odd behavior is because of her odd behavior.
Yes.
Okay.
And they think that this odd behavior came from either her not taking her meds.
Right.
Or her not being diagnosed with whatever else she had.
Okay.
Lam was last seen in the hotel on January 31st. Her parents, David and Yina, who'd been in daily contact with her daughter, quickly reported her missing. Lam's belongings, including a wallet, ID, laptop, had been left in her room. A Los Angeles police bulletin about Lam's disappearance mentioned that she spoke English and Cantonese, used public transportation, possibly had mild depression, and was ultimately headed to Santa Cruz, California. Okay, we have to talk about the elevator footage.
Okay.
The police issued an appeal for assistance from the public and released a video that showed Lam wearing a red hoodie, inside an elevator at the hotel. In the footage, she presses numerous buttons, looks out the elevator, moves back into the corner, steps outside the elevator, and waves her hands about. The video went viral and sparked widespread interest in the speculation about her case. One theory arose that Lam was playing what is sometimes called the Korean elevator game. So basically, you're supposed to press certain buttons, go to certain floors in a certain sequence,
Okay.
and then they'll open up into like another dimension.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I've seen people try it, and I've seen like stories about it.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so I just showed Claudia the elevator footage, and
That's
if you
messed up.
watched it, it's very odd.
So it's like she's talking to somebody also. Like it
Yeah,
looks
it's like somebody's
there.
out there, but you can't see a shadow, you can't see nothing. Like, she looks distressed. She goes in. What I find weird is that, don't look at that yet, is that okay, so she goes in, presses a bunch of buttons, the elevator doors don't move.
So it's called the Korean what? Sorry?
Oh, it's called the Korean elevator game.
Okay, that. Okay, so the Korean elevator game, you basically press buttons, it closes, you go to the next level, you do some kind of fair thingy, just a hand wavy thingy, and then you go back in.
No, it's only supposed to, so you go in, you have to go to floor 5. Okay, you go to floor 5, you let the door open, you let the door close. Then you go to floor 2, and then you go up to floor 7, and then you go back to floor 5, and then the little girl is supposed to get on the elevator with you.
Oh, creepy.
You're not supposed to look at her. You're supposed to go to a different floor. She's supposed to get off.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go back to another floor. You get out, and it's a different world.
Now, has it actually really happened or no?
Who knows? I mean, people say that when that happens, you don't come back.
Weird.
You can't get back.
Okay.
Unless you do the exact same thing in the opposite order.
Okay.
And it has to work. Like, somebody can't come on the elevator in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Or else it won't work.
Right.
Yeah. But in this video, she's pressing how many buttons? And the whole time she's in there, we're standing outside of the elevator, it doesn't close.
And then when she leaves towards the very end.
Yeah, she is gone, and then it closes.
That's bizarre. Because I said to Paul, I'm like, why don't you just hit the close door button?
And I said, well, she's hitting so many buttons.
It would be closed regardless.
Yeah, she's probably hitting that button.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay.
And she looks scared.
Yeah, like she looks like not really there.
Yeah.
And the way she's hiding against the thingy, it's like someone's going to see her.
Yeah, it looks like she's under the influence, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
I remember a toxicology report coming out, but I don't remember what it said.
Okay.
I think it had her regular medication.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
So, on to her death. So she was moved to a private room.
Right.
So she was last seen
Off the elevators, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Okay, so then after that, people in the hotel, so nobody heard from her. It's been days.
Okay.
Her parents have flown down to California to try and find her. Like they said, all her stuff was there. And, she's acting odd. So the other people in the hotel noticed the watercoloring and the water pressure is off.
Okay.
They search for her everywhere. But more and more people are complaining about their water. So they go check the water tank, and she's drowned. Up in the water tank on the top of the hotel.
What?
She somehow managed... She is a small Asian woman, okay?
Yeah.
She somehow managed to open the water tank hatch, get in, and close it after jumping into it. How does that make any sense?
That's weird.
Right? So, yeah. And her death was ruled an accidental drowning. They found no foul play. They think that she was just under the influence or mentally not there.
Yeah.
And that's it. But it leaves so many questions.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of theories that somebody, obviously it looked like somebody was after her. There's paranormal theories. There is lots.
So this is a hotel that I'll never go to.
Yeah. It was actually up for sale recently. Yep.
That's weird.
And I heard that half of it houses homeless now because it's on Skid Row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay. Huh.
So it's not a missing part. Like, she was missing.
Yes.
But, you know.
That's weird.
Yeah. Scary, right?
Creepy that people notice the water pressure and stuff like that too, right?
And discolored, too.
Oh.
Imagine drinking it and finding out that a dead
stop.
body was in there.
Oh, I'd be like getting tested or something because I'd be like all messed up after that.
You could die from drinking contaminated water from human remains.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
How long was she there for?
I think a few days.
Wow. That's crazy.
Enough for her to decompose in the water,
oh,
right?
Oh, gross! Stop. Sorry. Oh. Ugh. Okay. All right. Next one.
Okay, next one I want to talk about this girl from South Africa. I don't have something to read for this one, so bear with me. Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know. Something to say.
Okay, so this girl got up for school one day. She's in 8th grade. She gets ready for school. You know, she talks to her mom and dad. She leaves because her aunt is waiting for her. Her aunt picks her up and drops her off at school. So she goes to school. And so she's walking down the hallway and she notices her best friend, who is 4 years older than her.
Yeah.
She's in 12th grade. She sees her down the hallway, starts, walking a little faster toward her. But her friend, breaks eye contact and goes into the nearest classroom to try and avoid her.
Yeah.
And for the past couple of days, she's been like that. And she's like, wow, like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
friend
what?
spat.
Yeah, right?
Except one doesn't know what happened.
But they're best friends. So she's like,
so
even though they have an age difference,
yeah,
they like a lot of the same things. And they just clicked, right?
Yeah.
So, she goes to her class. She sits down. And the principal comes in. They said, without even knocking, nothing. He went right up to her desk and said, you need to come with me. And she's like, okay, what did I do?
Yeah.
Because she's trying to think, like, did I do something?
Right? Because your
Right?
best friend is not talking to you. Principal comes and gets you.
Yeah,
It's
what's
like
going on?
something you did that you can't remember.
So he takes her to his office, and they get in there, and there's 2 women sitting there with social services. And she's like, what's going on? And they're like, it has to do with you and your best friend's selfies that you took. The pictures that you took together. She's like, what are you talking about? Because she's thinking, she's like, we just took selfies.
Yeah.
They're just selfies. That's it. So she's like, okay, can I call my parents? And they're like, no, you can't call your parents. You need to come with us. We have to get you to a safe house. And
a safe house?
Yeah. And I forgot to tell you part of this. So they went to the safe house. She almost had a panic attack.
Oh, wow.
Because there was so many kids there. She couldn't talk to her parents. She kept asking them, like,
Yeah.
can I call my mom? And they were like, no, you really can't talk to your parents. So one of the social services workers was like, do you want to stay with me? Like, you can stay the night at my house because we're waiting on a call from the cops. I forgot to mention that they also, before they went to the safe house, they stopped at a clinic. And she didn't know why, but they were like, we'll be right back. One sec. So they came back to the car. They went to the safe house. She's on the verge of a panic attack because she can't talk to her family. The social services worker is like, okay, you can stay at my house. We're going to wait for a call from the cops, and hopefully it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So she stays the night there. She's a lot more comfortable there because she's not surrounded by other kids that that are in bad situations, right? And so the next day was kind of a waiting game. Then the cops called and they said her DNA matches. So they went to the clinic to get her DNA tested.
Yeah.
What had happened was her and her best friend's picture. They took pictures on the 12th grader's cell phone.
Who's this girl? That's at the safe house. Well,
No, she's the younger one.
Okay, so
She's
the other
in
girl
8th
that's
grade.
in school.
Yes.
Okay.
Her best friend that ignored her.
Right.
Okay, so the main girl, her name is Zephanie.
Okay.
The older girl, her name's Cassidy.
Okay, so Cassidy's the one that posted the pictures. Or took pictures of them.
Yes.
Okay.
She showed her parents. Her mom freaked out because Cassidy was like, oh my God, like, look how much we look alike. We did our makeup the same, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's not right. That's my daughter. And she's like, what are you talking about?
She's like, I am your daughter, Mommy. You're right.
Yeah. And when about the same time that Zephanie was born, okay, so she was kidnapped
By her parents, quote unquote parents that are raising her.
by her parents that are now raising her from the hospital
In South Africa.
in South Africa. Yeah.
So basically the mom had the baby, put her in the room there, and then the parents just came and like, that's my baby, and they took her.
The mom physically kidnapped her from the hospital.
I don't even...
And then once the mom saw the picture of them, she's like, this is my best friend in school. And
Well, that's why they're best friends, because they have so much in common.
because they're actually sisters.
And they look alike.
So Zephanie, she's being told this by the social workers, like,
And that's why she couldn't call her mom.
she just said, they said, you were kidnapped as a baby. Your real parents are outside. And they're waiting to see you. So she goes outside.
And it's her best friend.
And her
out there.
best friend's parents. She knows these people.
How did she know these people? They didn't clue into the mother that this was her daughter?
I'm not sure if they met before or she just knew their names.
Okay.
Because she was probably told their names.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And obviously she still loves her parents, the ones that raised her.
Like, how do you live like that? Like you're never going to see these people again,
Knowing your
obviously.
whole life is a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her quote-unquote mom only served 10 years in jail.
For kidnapping.
For kidnapping and raising her for 14 years
I
of
have
her
so
life.
many questions. Like, how do you get a birth certificate for her? Right?
But they did say that... so the husband, the quote-unquote dad...
Yeah.
Didn't know about any of it. He thought she was their actual child because the quote-unquote mom was actually pregnant and had a miscarriage and didn't tell him.
So
That's
she goes
why
to the
she
hospital,
stole a baby.
had a miscarriage, gets discharged, and takes the baby home with her.
That's what I'm guessing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So my other question is, did they not tell Cassidy? The oldest one?
They did tell her. That's why she was ignoring her.
But no. Did it not tell her before that she had a sister that went missing?
Probably not. It's probably...
How do you not tell your...
upsetting. I don't know.
Like, I'd be like, yeah, you had a sister. She was kidnapped. Like,
well,
we don't know what she's missing.
she's older, so it would have been when she was 4.
Oh, I guess. Still, that's weird. That's weird. That's just messed up.
Yeah. Wouldn't you see, like, old pictures and be like, hey, you're pregnant, but I'm here?
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
That's bizarre. So what are
Maybe
the chances?
they just kept it a secret.
What are the chances that you get kidnapped, you get raised, you go to school, and your best friend happens to be your actual sister? Out of all the places in the world that you can live.
Yeah, I'm
Born in
surprised
South Africa, coming to this, like, a different country.
they stayed in Cape Town, too.
So you
Like,
stay
they didn't
there.
move.
And
if
then
you
what
stole
are
a baby, why wouldn't you move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Okay, that's different. Yeah. Okay.
At least she was alive and well.
That's true. Mystery solved. Just kidding. Okay.
Okay. So, next one is Ryan Stuka, which is not solved. Unfortunately, this boy is still missing. Well, this young man is still missing. Basically, he went to a party.
In BC?
In BC, at a resort. His roommates left a couple minutes before him. Right. Everybody saw him put on his jacket and leave. And his roommates turned around to see if he was behind them, and he wasn't. After he left that party, nobody saw him.
So he just up and left and disappeared completely.
Yeah. Now, when we recorded this the first time, we went over some theories, because none of it makes sense. They said it was snowing when it happened, him succumbing to the elements wouldn't make sense because the parents do a search every year of that area, and no body has ever been found.
And it's been lost since 2018.
2018 it happened, so it's been 6 years.
So the reason I remember is because when I was on Facebook, I noticed that they kept posting this little green dinosaur, and they were saying on the picture on it says because I guess somebody had saw it and they're like, oh hey, why do you have this? And they explained that basically this dinosaur they put, so it's in early 2022, some volunteers started ordering and sharing small plastic dinosaurs far and wide in honor of Ryan what's his last name? Stukasaurus. Comes with a tag carrying a story of Ryan's disappearance and a scan code that takes finders to popular Facebook pages dedicated to Ryan. Since this photo of dino spotted in several different countries around the world have been shared, a photo of the dinosaur was found on a running path in Courtney, posted on August 30th, went viral, and now Ryan's story is traveling around the world faster than ever before. So basically, it's sharing his story through this little tiny dinosaur.
Yeah, I did find why the dinosaur is significant.
Okay.
It's because of what Ryan said in the very early on in the search effort.
Yeah.
So day 3 of searching has come to a close and nothing new to report. And yet so much happened. The police with their dogs came along with the helicopter. She's just talking about the search effort that day. She said, so I want to tell you one thing about my firstborn. I want him to be real for you. I know you know he is loved by his friends and by his family. He is smart and funny, and those are things anyone can say. I want to tell you how much Ryan loved dinosaurs when he was young.
Oh.
He said every day he would ask us to play the dinosaur game. We would take turns describing a dinosaur, and the other would guess the type. Scott and I started to study paleontology to keep up with Ryan. Time passes, and that was once a passion faded, but it is these precious moments that I'm trying so hard to hold on to.
Oh.
So Ryan, if you're out there, let's talk about dinosaurs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
Claudia's gonna cry.
Maybe a little bit. It just makes you think of my little boy at home.
Yeah.
Because he's a big dinosaur fan.
So is Riley.
Right? We did move on from dinosaurs now, because now we're on to monster trucks. And so is Riley, apparently, because he likes trucks too. But
and drones.
And what?
Drones.
And drones, yeah. But it's just yeah, those are the kind of things that you remember of your kids, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my heart breaks. I just can't imagine not knowing, sending my kid out, because, yeah, we're going to go party, awesome, have fun, and never seeing them again.
Yeah.
That's what's heartbreaking.
And they're an adult. You wouldn't think that something like that would happen.
They're going to be cautious or something. Nothing can happen to you because you're an adult. You protect your kids so much when they're kids that you put them into this world that you still cannot protect them.
Yeah.
And it's true. You just can't. Here's an example.
Yeah. I'm gonna link the Facebook page for his missing thing, and you guys can look at all the dinosaurs that everybody's found everywhere around.
I just wanted to be found for a peace of mind for the parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even if it's his body.
Exactly. It's just some kind of closure for them.
Yeah. After
this many years, not knowing where your child is.
Yeah.
That's sad.
And he would be what? 22, 23, I'm guessing 24, 25 now.
Oh, he's so young.
Younger than me.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So another thing I want to talk about, because Claudia's never heard of it, which is insane to me,
Apparently I don't hear a lot of things.
is
I live a sheltered life, apparently.
the Highway of Tears. It's a highway that runs through most of BC. And many, many women, mostly Indigenous women, have gone missing or were murdered and dumped on the side of this highway. So I want to talk about the racism that goes with that.
Yeah.
Because the lack of investigation into the cases of Indigenous women is insane in Canada, because they are seen as lesser.
Which is unfortunate and sad.
It's very sad. These are people's daughters and moms and friends. Even if they are a sex worker.
Yeah.
They're trying to make money for their family.
Yeah.
Right? And even when we look back at Robert Pickton and how most of his victims were
right.
Indigenous women that weren't looked into.
Yeah.
Because they were Indigenous sex workers. Who's gonna miss them? Like that's how
sad.
police and RCMP think, unfortunately. But they say there's over 80 victims.
It's like they're not even people to anybody kind of thing. That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It is really sad.
They're still people. They're still human. They still deserve to be, like, remembered and stuff like that, or looked for, right?
Yeah. It reminds me of a great example is how many of these women go missing every year, but you think of Gabby Petito. She was a woman her and her boyfriend were traveling through the U.S.
Yeah.
And nobody heard from her. And the second nobody heard from her, because she was white and blonde and, what am I trying to say? Privileged.
Okay.
She was on the news the next day.
Was she found?
Yeah. Her boyfriend murdered her.
Oh, I think I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he killed himself, the coward.
And look how fast that was found, though.
Yeah. That took how many days to solve? How many weeks to solve, probably? But it's, like, sad. It's really sad, because the news would be filled with missing people if we went over every woman that goes missing in Canada every day. It'd
be sad news every day.
Yeah, it would. But it's true.
Yeah. It's hard for me because like my spouse, like Dan, is part Indigenous. And like I have 2 kids with him. And I feel like, and I always tell Dan this, I say I feel it's hard for me as a mom of Indigenous children. Like I try to get as much as their culture and as much as I do my Chilean culture to them as well. And I say to Dan all the time, I said, my daughter looks very Hispanic looking. She looks very Chilean like me. And my son looks very Indigenous like Dan's side. And
I look white.
Very Caucasian. I'm very proud of my heritage, and I know Dan is proud of his heritage. And I want my kids to be proud of both their heritage, regardless of what the society impacts them. And I say to Dan, I said, it's unfortunate because my beautiful little baby boy, I just feel in my heart that he's going to be discriminated against because of his features and because he looks Indigenous. And I don't think that's fair at all. And it shouldn't be. Period.
These people were here before us.
Exactly. And I just feel like he's going to be portrayed as that person. And I was actually talking to your father about this like a while ago, because I don't know why it became a topic. And he's like, but this is what you as parents do to change that. And I'm like, it's true, because I will change everything in my son to make sure that he is not a stereotype.
He's proud of who he is. Yeah.
Exactly. And not for him to be judged as a stereotype of what they're portrayed as.
Because there's, even if you're not in Canada, like there's unfortunately so many bad stereotypes.
Yes, there is.
That go along with every culture.
Every culture, exactly. But I feel because we live in Canada, Indigenous people are the ones that
get it the worst.
Yeah, they get a lot of that racial profiling for them. And that breaks my heart, because my kids are part Indigenous, and I feel like they should be able to be proud of their culture and not be embarrassed by saying it.
Yeah.
Like, because we're trying to teach Maria, too, because she learns a lot about Indigenous. She goes to a Catholic school, and they explain Orange Shirt Day, to them. And, like, it just blows her mind, like, how come they cut their hair? Like, where are their parents? And I tried to explain to her. I said, this happens to your ancestors. Like, it happened to your grandpa's family. Because it did. And then she's like, well, what if that happens now? I'm like, well, that won't happen. I'm like, it better not, because I will die protecting her. But, like, it's like...
The disgusting thing about residential schools is that the last one didn't close until the year I was born.
Yes, that's the horrific part. And what's even worse is
that
growing
was
up...
only 27 years ago.
Growing up, I can tell you, we never learned that.
I learned it. I had to sit through a whole movie of survivor statements, like a whole documentary, and just bawl.
How old were you?
I was in grade 9.
Oh, I honestly don't know how Maria would even take that.
It was soul crushing because you grow up so proud of your country. You sing the national anthem every day. Well, I did in elementary.
Only to find out this is what your country did to these people.
Yeah.
Like, not these people,
it's
but
disgusting
people.
Because people are so proud of our country.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think of those things.
Yeah.
And, like, for the Highway of Tears, there's 23 First Nations communities bordering that highway.
So basically, it's just like an open field for these people to hurt these innocent other people.
And a lot of them, because it's a highway, there's a lot of truck drivers.
Yeah.
And most of them never get caught because they're sex workers. They just kill them and dump them. Hitchhikers, they'll kill them and dump them.
It's sad because they're probably getting away, like, for example, like, they're getting away from probably a horrible situation at home. They hitchhike to get out of the situation, to get a situation that just kills them, regardless of where they're going.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to escape something.
They can't escape it, yeah. I'm sure, yeah, because it mentions domestic abuse situations.
That they're leaving, kind of thing.
Yeah. This says, some critics argue that the lack of results arising from this investigation is the result of systemic racism. This was also reported to be an issue in the case of Vancouver's missing women and the Robert Pickton murders. It's so sad.
And how many deaths they have reported so far, you said?
They said, so there's an RCMP branch that's dedicated to this. Okay? They report fewer than 18. Okay?
Okay.
The Aboriginal organizations that investigate this.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the actual, their communities.
Like indigenous communities?
Yeah.
Like
the ones that are there.
Kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
They report missing and murdered. So, missing and dumped.
Yeah.
Is higher than 40.
How is the RCP only finding 18?
And that's right. But the whole highway, it says the victims are 80 plus.
Like a year?
Because that's just missing and murdered. The rest are just missing.
Oh, missing and murder, but they're not pointing out the missing.
Yeah, so that
What's
40
the number missing?
80 plus. And it says, it's so sad because it says the span of crimes. It says 1970 to present.
So it's still going up.
It's still happening. There was a serial killer that used the Highway of Tears as his hunting grounds.
Wow.
Yeah. There is one more thing I want to talk about regarding Indigenous.
Okay.
Okay, so I also want to talk about the Starlight Tours or the Saskatoon freezing deaths.
What?
So...
Like, do I seriously live in a bubble that I don't hear any of this stuff?
This is going to make you sad.
Oh, gosh.
In the 1990s and the early 2000s...
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Just an FYI, you guys. Polly decided to show me some Pixar little stories today.
Oh, yeah, the shorts. The shorts.
And let me just tell you...
She cried at every single one of them.
Yeah, we watched the lava one, which was, like, so sad. And then we watched the, what was it, Bow?
Bow.
Oh, my goodness, did I cry. Like, I was...
And then Float. We watched Float as well.
Which was the Float one?
The little boy.
Oh my gosh, yes! Oh, after that, I swear, I'm like, I had to FaceTime Dan just so I can see my kids. Because I missed them so much, and my heart was just broken to tears. Like, it just broken. Just completely broken. So, please continue. Make me cry for the rest of the night, Polly. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so, if you're not from Canada, Saskatoon has many reserves.
Okay.
You know this.
Yes.
Paul's
like, you should know some of this, Claudia.
So, the Saskatoon freezing deaths. So, basically, cops would, you know, the generational trauma from, you know, all the racism and the residential schools. Yeah. Like, there's people that still live with that trauma being there, right?
Right.
Or seeing your parents have to go through the trauma. You know, there's a lot of alcoholism and drug abuse, unfortunately, that comes with trauma.
That, right?
Yeah. So in the 1990s and early 2000s, it says the first one dated back to 1976. Okay. So this goes back pretty far.
Yeah.
Police would drive around in Saskatoon, and there would be mostly male. Yeah. I say mostly male. So mostly men that would be drunk and disorderly and, you know, causing a ruckus. So they would say, you know, get in the car. We're gonna throw you in the hole for the night, right? Or you need to sober up. We're gonna take you. Blah blah. They would drive them to the outskirts of the city at night in the winter, dump them, and leave them in sub-zero temperatures. These were police officers.
What?
This all happened from the police service.
How?
And
why?
And they called them Starlight Tours. They would take them out there and just dump them. And let them freeze to death.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Because, again, these people are seen as lesser.
They're still human freaking beings.
I know. And it says, as of now, no police officer has ever been convicted.
Are you freaking kidding me?
As a result of these freezing deaths. Yeah.
Wow.
I read one story specifically where the guy survived. He was dropped off. So he was drunk. And the police they put handcuffs on him way too tight. They threw him in the back of the car. But they laid him down, and he could read the car number.
Yeah.
Because the cars have a letter and then a number.
Right.
So he read it. He remembered it. They dropped him off because he had heard rumors about it.
Yeah.
So he did it as a precaution. And inevitably they dumped him. He got up, walked to a factory that was very far.
Yeah.
It's freezing. He doesn't have a coat. Nothing. And if you know Canada, it gets cold. Very cold. And Saskatchewan is known for being flat. So it's all wind.
Yeah.
And the wind chill can add 10 degrees. So he's walking to this factory, basically on the brink of death.
Yeah.
But it was so early in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning, that there was a worker there that found him after he had to bang his head on the door to get someone's attention. So he got to safety. He went to the police.
Oh, so the same police that brought him out? Awesome.
Yeah. He went to the police. He had no other choice. Who else was he going to go
Yeah, that's true.
see, right? I'm not sure if it was the police or the RCMP. Either way, they don't treat them well.
Yeah.
And he said, this is the car number that I remember. Okay. They looked up the car number. They're like, there's no car with that number that was on patrol that night. And unfortunately, because he made a police report about the incident, they said he couldn't make another one. But he mixed up a 5 and an S in the car number. So, just to get away with not convicting these
the cops could have figured
murderers,
it out.
Yeah.
Because if not, they're the worst police ever, honestly, to begin with.
Yeah. So, nobody's ever been convicted of it because they're trying to cover their own butts.
So, how long did this go on for?
It says the first dates back to at least 1976. And it says...
Is it still going on? Please tell me no.
It says 1990s and early 2000s.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How do you have a conscience? Like, how...
I don't know. And the police, I guess, when the police were questioned, the actual cops that were in that car, when they were questioned about it,
yeah,
they said they had simply given him a ride home and dropped him off.
Oh, right.
Dropped him off there at his own request.
Oh, because I want to be driven outside of the skirts of the city, please. And minus whatever to freeze my butt off. And when you're intoxicated, you, like, don't feel stuff, you know, until it's very late. Because you're, like, you know, you're kind of warm.
He's lucky he was drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Because he wouldn't have survived that. Like, that's impossible.
It says, I didn't know this, but it says those cops that were in that cop car were convicted of unlawful confinement and spent 8 months in prison. But all the people that died, there's no convictions for that.
Did they say how many people passed away from that?
Let me see. Okay, so I'm trying to find the number of people who have passed by this.
Yeah.
But it says, as of 2023, first documented in 1976, Starlight Tours are a Canadian police practice that continues until today.
That's disgusting. On so many levels.
So, because this started in 1976, I can only assume there have been more. But I can only see 3 that were deemed suspicious by police.
3?
They were, yeah.
3. Back from 1979.
76.
They're going to say that there's only 3 deemed suspicious from the police? Are you freaking kidding me?
From the police that did it, yeah. Of course they're going to say that. Because they did it.
Wow.
It's insane that that's still happening. Like,
that's disgusting.
And, like, how are you supposed to say no to the police?
Because you would be screwed anyways.
Yeah.
Because you say no, you're done. And if you say yes, you're done regardless. You think you got to go drinking in packs.
Yeah.
And then you're deemed like a bad riot person kind of thing. We're a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's just unfortunate. Like, sad and unfortunate on so many levels. Like,
I can't even imagine how many men have gone missing and their families worry about them for days.
These are people's kids. These are people's husbands. These are people's, like, siblings. Like, do you not know that these people are still significant? Because they're not significant to you, they're still human freaking beings.
Yep.
Like, and this is probably why a big majority of the police now have, like, body cams and what do you call them? Like, car cameras and stuff that. And they're like, they're to protect themselves, but at the same time, like,
what about the people that
need protection from them? Like, don't get me wrong, of course there are criminals, and yes, police need to protect themselves. But, like, how many cases are there where you see this unfortunate, like, situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
police can be just as bad
as good.
Well, yeah, they're
per se. It's a horrible example.
Yeah, but you got to think about the men that go into police work. They want control.
Yeah. They
want to feel a sense of power. And some people take that way too far.
Yeah. I couldn't. It just makes me want to protect my babies even more.
Yeah.
You know, like, I protect my kids, well, you know, as much as I can and to all degrees of, but, like, it's just like, I'm bringing 2 more children into this world, and they're both Indigenous, and it's like, as a mom, I have to do...
Not even the police are safe.
Yeah, like, how am I supposed to tell my son, who I proudly looks Indigenous, because it's his culture, and now I have to tell him, while growing up, that police are there to protect you. But at the same time, that can backfire on him, and he could be a victim of the police because of his nationality. Like, his because of who he is.
Yeah.
And that's
because
not
of his
fair.
skin color.
Exactly. Like, that's just not fair, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I remember your dad saying, he's like, you can only just raise them to be best they can be, so they're not put in that situation, which I can do the best I can. But it takes one wrong turn for one policeman to hate Indigenous people, and my son is done.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
Like, there's only so
one
much I can
person with a
control.
gun can...
Yeah.
Yep.
That's unfortunate. And it's sad to hear how many of those cases, and that they only found 3. Like, that's just ridiculous.
That's... I really don't
That's a joke.
think
That's just a joke. Like...
deemed suspicious. So,
You would
how
think.
many weren't deemed suspicious because you know you dumped them there?
Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people, I think, have a narrow mindset in the way of racism. Because you think black and white.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
But you don't think, what about, like, all the Asian hate
Yeah.
that's been going on the past few years? Like, you hear about old ladies
Because of Corona.
getting jumped
Yeah.
and killed and, like, that. And, I mean, people can be racist towards white people.
I have a friend who's of
It's
Asian
like-
descent, and she said that she was with her mother at the store, and, like, this is just shortly after COVID, some of the restrictions were lifted, that people were, like, verbally abusing her.
Yeah.
Her mother. If that was me, and that was my mom, oh my goodness, I'd probably be in jail. Legit. Because no one's going to talk to my mother like that. Like,
Yeah.
period. You know? I was actually talking to Dan about that recently. I'm like, hey, Dan, like, I'm, of course, Hispanic. I said, do you think, like, people, racially profile me? And he's like, probably. And I'm like, and it stupidly, it took me by shock. And he's like, why? I'm like, because I don't see it. Like, I don't see it.
Because you're not racist.
Yeah, but, like, I just don't see it. Like, I can't see someone racially profiling me. But then I think of, like, my father who was of, you know, like, from a different country. And I said, yeah, he obviously probably got it, too. Like, my mom, my dad, like, so many people, like, of our family that have come from Chile and other countries. And it just, like, breaks my heart. Like, and to know that I haven't physically, like, I personally haven't experienced it, but I couldn't even imagine, like, yeah.
I was watching a video of this woman who she was part of this engineering team for a video game and has since been fired, but she could build her own team.
Yeah.
So she hired the people that she thought were best fit for her team.
Yeah.
And she said on her TikTok video, I only hire people of color, so it's a safe space.
What?
So she only hired African American people because she thought bringing a white person into that space would make them uncomfortable. And a black man stitched it and said, how is this not racist?
I was going to say, how is that not racist? That's completely racist.
And people don't see it like that.
How do you not see that?
And, I'm sorry, but as a black person, how do you think you can't be racist? You're still a person.
Yeah.
White people are still people. It goes both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
even the guy was like,
Hello?
why? What? Like,
Yeah.
just because they do it doesn't mean you have to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just because something that happened 200 years ago, like, it's not affecting you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I think we may have drifted a little bit off topic. A little bit.
What are you talking about?
Before we forget, the sound.
Oh, wait. I want to say that the man that survived that Starlight Tour,
Yeah.
he passed away last year.
Oh.
But he was a very big advocate of indigenous
Yeah.
rights.
Good. We have to say our sound last week. It was the cabinet door opening and closing.
Yeah.
The cabinet door closing.
Because everybody knows exactly what my cabinet sounds like, so you should have gotten that.
Yeah, come on, you guys. Like, it's embarrassing. Okay, we're gonna do a next sound. Okay, you guys, guess this sound. Okay, we're gonna do it one more time. Okay, we hope you guys guess it, because that was kind of a fun one. Next week, Paula, you said you want to talk about...
Chris Watts.
Chris Watts is going to be our topic.
Because she's never heard of Chris Watts.
Because apparently I live under a rock, apparently. So next week is 50-50 because we got a few things to sort out. So we're hoping we could do a podcast next week. If not, it's going to be the week after. But we'll tell you what the mystery sound is as well. We hope you guys enjoyed our podcast today. Don't forget to...
Like, subscribe, comment, share.
Woo woo! We hope you guys have a great Friday. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye, Ian and Carla.
Bye, Ian and Carla. Bye!